All right, party people, happy Friday. Happy Friday, happy Friday to you. I can't sing, so I ain't gonna go further than that. Y'all be like, oh, we logging off right away. What is happening? Welcome to the Friday Relationship Flow Sip and Chat. We got our crew with us this evening. Doc, what's going on? You rocking the red West Coast vibe look.
Yes, yes. I felt a little gangy today.
Oh,
Oh, thank you. Okay.
do I even dare ask what the gang got in your cup? Like, what's going on in your cup as you a gang member? Like, what is happening?
Actually, I found that I bought some beer back from the Bahamas when I was there before the corona earlier this year.
Right?
And
Yes.
I found them. I forgot all about them. So this is the Pink Sands beer from the Bahamas.
From the
That's what I'm
Bahamas.
drinking.
And
From
it
the
was
Bahamas.
tucked in the cut, huh?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay, it's
yes.
full right now. We got to check that level out. I'm gonna go to Miss April, Miss Payne. How you feeling this evening? She's like, oh, why you come to me? Because we already gonna get the little wave when I get to that person.
I am well. I'm good.
Oh,
That's it.
Okay, now you had good sound in the sound check.
Really?
I heard you say I'm well.
How about now?
Okay, a little closer, a little closer.
I don't know.
We're gonna listen, you whispering. All right, we're gonna come back to you. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. Maybe sip your cup and maybe you have what you need. What you need. Daryl, how you living?
I'm good. I'm good. How's everybody doing tonight?
we're all
Good.
right.
Good.
That
What
that
you
didn't
Good.
sound too
it
enthusiastic, but
didn't,
we're
right?
good.
I said
We're
we're all
all
right.
right.
We
We
are
are
Ooh,
good.
right.
Yes,
Oh
we
my
are
right.
good
gosh,
tonight.
it's so good. Oh, we just so good tonight. You know how it goes.
I'm
You know
fabulous.
That's
what you sipping? What's your
great.
Batman shirt?
I got some green tea.
Right out the jug. Okay.
Why use a glass?
Thugalicious.
Why use
Thugalicious.
a glass?
Got you. Got you. On the other side, I don't know how your screen shows. We got the LA West Coast gang vibe on one side. And we got Jen Fabulicious on the other side. Jen, how you living this week?
I'm good. I had an excellent week.
Oh,
I cleansed myself with crystals and I'm ready for my chats. I have my beverage, my same
Okay.
beverage.
your solo beverage or your
My
single beverage?
same beverage I always have my hard cider.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Well, welcome to the chat this week. And the none only of our resident guests. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Oh, we got the fancy water bottle.
Yeah, I put it's actually I guess wine from the summer. I said it's strawberry flavored.
Okay.
What is it?
Strawberry flavored wine. What's the
Mmm.
name brand? I forgot. It's in the refrigerator. I got some other stuff, but yeah,
Okay.
Okay,
no water.
okay. So
All
we
right.
got the fruit flavors down the bottom. We got
Yes.
True.
apple. We got apple with gin, strawberry with LaJoya, and I got my grapefruit.
Look at
Yes.
that. I'm glad you picked that out in your psychologist life because I missed that one. So tonight's Sip and Chat, we are talking about how do you empty your baggage before you go to the next relationship? How do you empty your baggage before you go to the next relationship? Let's see if before we jump and dive on in, Miss Payne, how you feeling? We didn't get the shout out from you all the way.
Am I? How do I sound now?
Still
Eh,
low.
still
Low.
low.
I might
It
have to
was
go.
fine.
Yeah, it was
It
fine in
was
the mic
fine
check. I don't know
earlier.
what happened.
Yeah.
So, what you sipping?
I am sipping some Essentia water today.
Oh, you're the healthy one in the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I had wine last time and Kent was drinking water.
Right, 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 right. Now she coming
That
with her
was me too.
strawberry wine.
Yeah,
I know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I might have to go pop a bottle or something.
Oh, look at that. Hey, that's when the
Yeah.
Okay.
screen block happens, and you go do things when that happen.
There you go.
See, Jen doing it right now. Um, So, Doc, where you think we should start in this conversation?
I think one of the first questions is, do you recognize when you have baggage? Is it obvious?
Or
Is
do you
it
even know what
something that,
baggage is?
yeah, do you know what your baggage is? Is it obvious? Because if you don't recognize it, of course you're dragging it from relationship to relationship because you don't even know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I think it takes time. It takes time for you to know, and really, it takes sometimes outside people letting you know if you don't
Mm-hmm.
know, letting you know what you need to check yourself on, because that's how you
Mm-hmm.
continue on. If nobody's checking you, then you just continuing on, and you're getting in relationships, and they always dumping you or whatever. Um, Obviously, you got to start looking at yourself and seeing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
One indicator is every time you get into a relationship, you have the same questions. You know,
Mm.
Ooh,
yeah.
that's a
Why
good
does
one.
every man, woman do me like this? Or why
Right.
do I behave this way in every relationship? Why is this new person just like the last person?
Mm. As opposed to looking at yourself as the common denominator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because
I want
those
to be
questions are important, but you bring the same people to your life
Hmm.
if you haven't unpacked that bag.
That's right. That's right. For
What do the
sure.
men say, Daryl?
I mean, kind of right now we're going to kind of say the same thing. I think like baggage. If we don't know you have it, if you don't know it's baggage, you will continue to do the same thing over. So kind of like Jen said, you most of the time you need somebody outside of you to kind of point out what maybe some areas or some things that maybe you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we're not in a position to observe ourselves a lot of times, so we can't see ourselves. So sometimes we can't even see what we're doing
Right.
until someone points it out to us. We have someone strong enough to point it out to us in a constructive way where we don't get the defensive and
Mm-hmm.
and become dismissive of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that baggage
How's your own baggage?
damage other people and put it on
Yeah, if you let
somebody
it.
else.
Hmm.
Like you unloading all
Right.
your stuff on everybody else. Now they got the bag and they having to carry this bag. They're having to carry your mommy issues or daddy issues or whatever issues that you have. And now, like they're scarred and now they're carrying a bag. So you got to keep
Mm-hmm.
stepping on somebody else. I think definitely you need like a strong outside circle, whether it be family or friends or your spouse, to let you know, like, look, you need to, whatever it is, you need to check it. Like just, or let's go see somebody. We can see someone together if that'll make you feel more comfortable, but you need to see somebody. Like if you're insecure, like there's a lot of insecurities in relationships. If you're insecure, like you have to figure out where's this coming from. Like that's not normal for someone to be possessive or insecure and all of that. Like you have to check that because you're gonna literally spend your life miserable trying to figure out what's wrong and thinking it's someone else when really it's you.
Mm-hmm.
You're the toxic person.
But sometimes
Mm-hmm.
toxic people magnetize to each other
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and bring toxic energy together to each other. And they like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
wait, is it just me or do we both share a responsibility in this?
Hmm.
True.
But then if
Oftentimes,
one person
toxic
says
people
they
just
don't
blames
share
other people.
responsibility, then one person is
Okay,
holding the bag.
Camp and Doc talking at the same time. I ain't hear neither one of y'all.
Oh, go ahead, Kent.
Go ahead, Doc.
I said oftentimes toxic people blame others.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take
That's a good
the
one.
time to look inward.
Right.
That's what I was saying.
All I was saying was sometimes one if two toxic people get together, sometimes the one person ends up holding the bag and it causes resentment. So it's like toxicity all over again. It's like a cycle.
Mm.
Because sometimes you're in a relationship thinking you can save somebody even though you're toxic. And You have so much baggage. You may feel like their baggage is more than yours.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like, oh, I may not need to do as much work as the next person. But coming into a relationship, you got to do the work just like the other person.
Right.
So sometimes it becomes a blame game. Well, you have this going on. You have these issues. I don't have all of that, but you have something you need to work on. So
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
and
one thing.
sometimes no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say just one thing to make clear that when we're talking about baggage, we're talking about emotional issues that have gone unresolved that you are taking from relationship to relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's
You might need to clarify that some more.
yeah.
mhm.
Like what are
You might need
some
to give some
like
examples for the people in the back. They might not connect and get it right. You gotta give them some examples from the back.
everybody package is different. Some people it's different.
What do you mean?
Like some people have
Type
trust
of
issues.
baggage.
Some people have
Okay.
So
Okay.
insecurity
Yeah.
issues where they like no matter what relationship they're in, like they're always like, do you love me enough? Oh, he doesn't love me enough,
Mhm.
or she doesn't love me enough, or some people are super clingy. That's an issue. Some
Mhm.
people
Mhm.
it's just
Mhm.
like it's different type of um issues. I mean, they all issues, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
This is
they can be
making me think
baggage too,
about,
though.
and I might be TMI in, and I hope I'm not. But I have a session that's coming up with a couple that the repeated pattern that I heard, and they don't even recognize it, is that the argument don't even really start, but they already ready to fight. Like as soon as you say, "Well, why you didn't turn over in the bed this way?" Oh, I'm going downstairs. So what? Like, where
Mm.
is the real argument at? Like, you didn't even have a disagreement, or is that your way to not be intimate because you just
Mm-hmm.
don't want to even go there? So you create some kind of interruption in your interaction that's going to create that separation.
Okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
like avoidance. You create a
Like
past, and I have to
avoidance.
deal with it. Hmm.
And the other example that they gave is that once the wife begins to start talking and to explain herself, the husband responds and says, "Oh, you're stubborn. You stuck in your ways. You stubborn." She like, "Well, give me an example." He's unable to give an example because they never relived beyond that cycle
Mm-hmm.
of communication, and they just get stuck at
Yeah.
that same place, and now they're in an argument.
Yeah.
17 years,
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
right?
That, that's the
I think
thing.
I'm gonna need some tequila in that session.
Yeah. You
And I
will.
think some people pass
So
baggage
as
along because they're afraid to be by themselves. People are
Mm.
afraid to look in the mirror and be like, "This is me. This is what I got going on. This is what I need to fix."
Or they comfortable with this is what I've always done, so you got to change, not me.
right,
Take
this
me
is
as I
me.
am.
That's the main
This is
thing.
how I
As I
am.
am.
A
Yes.
lot of people are just so
Yeah.
set in their ways, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Look, this is me. You either take it or leave it." And
Mm-hmm.
always been
Mary J.
that way.
Blige.
And somebody's always folding, like, "All right, I'll take it. All right," and then it continues on, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because they've always been the one to set the tone of how like things are gonna be. You should never say, "Oh, this is me. Take it or leave it," especially if your me is like the worst.
Right.
Like, is that my option? Like the worst, or
Like you can't come up with nothing else.
yeah? So I think
Hmm.
that is. I think people have to stop being so defensive. Like just
Mm-hmm.
because somebody tells you, or not to say, "Oh, you have issues," somebody comes to you and
When you
sits
say
you down.
issues, that's the issue.
That's the issue,
Like
right?
if
That's my
they
whole
just
thing.
sit you down and telling you basically, people need to stop being so defensive and so sensitive because everybody is so damn sensitive. Like you can't say anything to them. They can
Mm-hmm.
dish it out,
Because
but
they
they
used to
can't.
yes people.
Huh?
They used to yes people like, "Oh, you look cute in that
Yes.
dress." Well, it was a little
Right.
tight.
So if you have someone around you basically telling you, look, you got issues. Like, why do you think everybody is always cheating on you? Or why do you always think like you need to see what's going on? Like, what's up with you? Like something's
Mm.
going on. You done lost 3 men in like 3 months. Like, what's going on? Like now
Oh
you need
my
to sit
God.
down and
Oh
what's
wow.
instead of getting defensive, like they need to sit down and literally break down each relationship, if that's what you have to do, and check your shit. Like at this point, you have to take responsibility. Someone is trying to help you. There's a good person that's letting you know, like your shit do stink. So you need to sit down and take this lesson, or you're gonna have a life of just like a whole bunch of breakups. Like it's not gonna work out if you don't make sure that you are good first.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes time. I mean, like it's easy to say that that's what we should do and tell people this, that, or the next. But people are not going to receive things the first, second, third, maybe 10th time you said it. And then your delivery also, kind of reverting back to we talked the other day. We got to find a way to talk to people because it's a touchy subject. And if you're telling me something's wrong with me, I'm 9 times out of 10 I might get defensive about it a little bit. Because I may not believe it to be true. For one, I'm like, you're wrong.
Why?
Why?
No, I'm not saying something is wrong with you, but somebody's saying like, look, Daryl, dude, you dogging these girls out, or you cheating on them, or you got these insecurity issues. Like, what's going on? Like, not coming to you.
So my thing would be, who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah, no, I'm saying if someone's telling you this, like, why do I need to believe your assessment of me, right? Because if I haven't heard it from anyone else, right, this is not a recurring theme because a lot of people don't tell you.
People that's willing to fall in line because of what you set the tone as. So no one's told you. I'm telling you, I know you for like 15 years. I know you, and I've been in these broken relationships that has been reoccurring.
So
I'm just sitting you down as a friend.
Well, so it's like I said again, it's a couple things that's going on. First of all, I know you as well, and I know your tattered past and your relationship has not been the best either, right? So I'm not going to take advice from someone who's failing. For one,
I'm not failing.
No, what I'm saying, like, say you know this person as well, and they're doing things, and so we always have rebuttal, right? It's easy to not want to deal with the truth. So if I can see things you've done that were wrong and you weren't perfect, I'm like, how can you tell me? Again, and if it's one person, it's tough sometimes for you to receive something from one person telling you that something was wrong, right? If it's not been, if a lot of, like, I know if a lot of your relationships kind of say the same thing, hopefully after a while you're like, I heard that like from 5 different people. That's a little different. But if you only have, most people don't tell you the truth. So if one person is telling you something, you might not receive it as well as if it's been a common theme in your life, and and then if you have these issues as it is, you might not receive it at all because you're still having some issues with dealing with whatever it is. You might not want to. You're in denial of it, right? So it's easy to sit here and say what we should do, and that's cool in the perfect world, in a vacuum maybe. But realistically, when you start talking to people, the first 4, 5, 6 times, it may not be receptive, right? So how do we help? And so at that point, how do we help them unpack their baggage at that? If you tell me, well, maybe you need to go talk to somebody, I'm like, well, you want to talk to somebody. You feel me? And it's not me anymore because I'm leaving. It's just.
And that's why you have men perspective. But women are not going to do that. Like if my group of friends that I have, which I've been in the hot seat. That's been like, Jen, like, what is your deal? Like, what's going on? Just in a way that I'm used to, like, speaking with them. I'm not on the defense. I'm like, I'm really sitting down and I'm looking at myself. That's because I'm comfortable enough to take criticism, especially if I know it's coming from a good place. So I'm automatically gonna be like, what am I doing? Like what? Like, because sometimes you need outside eyes is seeing what you're not seeing.
So again, you're the outlier. I'm just talking about, I know from most time when you confront anyone, they usually don't receive it well. I'm just being honest.
And even when you have a friend and they do it as an intervention, like you didn't come there for that, but then you become the focus of being an intervention. You like, okay, wait a minute. Like, you catching me off guard. Who said I wanted to sign up for this?
Right. But I think sometimes it doesn't take a whole lot of people. It could be that one person in the group that's chill. They do their thing. They talk a lot, but at the same time, if they take you aside and they really coming to you and you respect them, it don't take the whole group or all the fans. It just take that one person to be like, yo, what's going on?
Right.
You don't even have to know what's going on. People sense stuff. Like people can sense it, like the atmosphere in the room or how that person is, and you be like, yeah, what's going on? I've sensed this, and they might actually just come to you and tell you, or they may just like, I got a lot going on, so I need help. So you just never know. Don't take a whole bunch of people.
And I don't think that people. That's why I said people need to stop being so sensitive, because you're not perfect. You're not perfect, and clearly, if this is failing, it's failing for a reason. If several people are exiting your life, however they exit, if several people are exiting your life in a short amount of time, they're basically giving you silent signals. Like they're telling you right there that you got some shit you need to work on. They're just too scared to tell you. They'll just rather exit your life than tell you, and
But
just
it's
Well,
get
I
again,
wonder.
we're coming
I
from a.
wonder
Okay, I'm sorry.
how often it's silent, because when you start, I know from my experience as a therapist, when I start talking to people and digging into their past, and they might be talking about this one relationship where this person said you're so controlled, they will control you.
Absolutely. Denial is real, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
It runs
again,
through everybody's living room.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely,
And they
very.
text message stories.
Yeah.
Listen. So again, it's easy to say what should happen, but I think like I watch that show Addiction, and they have these group interventions, and they don't usually work in a half hour, and that took a long time. It takes a lot of time for a person really first to be able to say, you know what, most people to say I have an issue, right? Again, maybe like here we have a different conscious level and we are more open, but most people are not as open. So it takes you a while to get to the point where you say, you know what, I have a problem, right? It takes a while to admit that, and that's a real person to admit that you have a problem, right? It takes sometimes a long time to get there, and a lot of people, and you like you said, you might have ruined
sometimes
or
it takes years.
yeah, and you might, in many relationships that you have, like you said, dump this baggage on somebody else and ruin them with your baggage because you just passed it on. But like I said, it's not I don't think it's a thing for most people just to change overnight because one person talked to them.
Yeah. And acceptance is a big part of unloading your baggage.
That's
Like
everything.
that's the first step.
Absolutely.
Understanding that you have baggage, and this baggage needs to be unpacked so that you can move on to a healthy relationship.
Right.
And that the baggage doesn't define you. Like it's not everything about you. It's not. I was going to tell you about that.
The tag on my pillow sticking out.
Right. I'm sorry.
Tag, you're it.
Tag alert.
You're it.
Tag alert. Oh God, what was I going to say? Oh, that it doesn't define who you are, but it's something that you need to look at to say, okay, can I improve in this particular area? Oftentimes, when somebody say, "Oh no, you need to go to counseling," they be like thinking, "Well, what's wrong with me?" and begin rehearsing all these situations, but not realizing that all these moments in these situations are things that you never really confronted. You just broke up with the person because they said something you ain't like. And you moved on thinking that the new person was going to show something different.
So, can emotional baggage be helpful?
Yes. I would say
How
so
so?
because hope. You said helpful or hopeful? Which one?
Help.
You said helpful.
Yeah, helpful.
Yeah. So
can I just say
say
before you say that, Camp, I love how Jen's hair speaks for her, and then she speak too. Like it have its own conversation. While
Oh, what is moving like a wig? It's not.
I know it's not a
Not,
wig. I know it's not a
no,
wig.
it's not a wig. It's not moving like
moving like a wig is looking crazy. I need to put on a hat. But
No, you good. You good. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Don't mind me. Go ahead, Joya.
no, I was saying it can be helpful because if you know that you have baggage before you're trying to get into a relationship and you're like, nah, I don't really want this, you've been upfront and honest, I think people are more willing to, your partner is more willing to like see you for who you really are, and it's not a representative, but and if they really, not, I wouldn't say love per se, but if they really care about you, they're willing to pull up their boots by the bootstraps, hunker down with you, and just kind of work through it. It's not so much a rush, it's a process and a protocol. So, like, I was like, when I met my husband, I had like 13 years of therapy, and I met him at I met him at 19. So by the time I was 23, I had 13 years of counseling. Like my family knows because I would try to go to them as a support system, but everything was swept under the rug. It's all emotional. But everybody was like, "Oh, that doesn't exist. Oh, that didn't happen." And I'm like, everybody witnessed it. So I think with the family trauma came the trauma all over again with the individual emotional baggage. So for me, I didn't choose to skip from relationship to relationship to relationship. I actually dealt with it. And, it was crazy, scary. It was confusing. Some of it, but it had to happen. I think it was very good for the soul. So I did some things that helped me. People may not like my strategies, but they worked for me.
Right.
So I would say one of my strategies, because I feel like every time you were what's the word? You're with somebody in that way, having sex or whatever, giving yourself any kind of way to anybody, emotionally, physically, whatever, I think it takes away from who you are at the core. Like it's a take. So for me, I was just like, oh, I'll be celibate for 3.5 years because I worked on me, like spiritually, emotionally, physically.
Daryl about to pass out with what you said. That he said 3 years. Good Lord.
So if you came along to come along, it was more so like you with me because you care about me, or like we can be friends, but I'm not looking for anything. I made it clear up front. So, but once I came out of it, I was the best of Joya at that point. I still had to grow, but I was to say, if you up in front and honest about it, people, and when Jen mentioned people start leaving your life, sometimes people are meant to leave your life, and those people should have been out of your life before. Sometimes
it's not even if the seasonal people. They're seasonal.
A reason.
A season, a reason, or a lifetime.
But
right.
It's one of them things where I know from experience I had baggage. I didn't know I had baggage. Nobody told me I had baggage. Clearly, because they didn't know either. Because they had stuff going on too.
Right.
And
sometimes people are attracted to our baggage.
That's what it was. That's what it
was. But so it would be the smallest thing, and I would just be like, hey, it's not working out. Like what you said. I don't like what you said. I don't like how you said it. So I'm just gonna and I would ghost. I would do that before the time was even ghosting. Like literally, I would drop off the face of the map, literally, and it took me to get into my and I'll be honest, it took me to get into my 30s and to go through real things. It took me to really sit in it and basically go through spiritual awakenings and everything else to be like, I look like I was a problem. Like I passed up some really good people in my life because I had issues like that I didn't even know that I had, and no one spoke up. No family or anything because they had their own, so they couldn't see it either. But when it was brought to my attention, I was ready and I was willing to hear it because I'm like, it has to be a reason why right now I'm like feeling the way I'm feeling. Like I'm feeling like I've really messed up good relationships. I really let good people go, and I'm seeing them just flourish in these other relationships. Like what happened? Like what? And then I realized it was me. I never was defensive. I never it didn't take 1,000 people to let me know. All it took was 2 to 3 women, I guess, 2 men maybe. But I took it.
Partridge in a pear tree.
Right. And some apple juice and some
Right. But I'm glad that I got it when I got it because I would literally still be going on. Just any little thing, I just be so nonchalant. I'm not an argumentative type. I just be like, you know what?
Really?
All right. What?
Right. We can't really tell, but we know the argument only lasts 30 minutes because she ain't got time.
And so you ain't got time. You ain't got time. It's just that I don't have the mental time because I know how
capacity. Right.
I don't have all of that upstairs to give to negative energy and to be going back and forth. Like my spirit to be so positive, and when I feel that it's turning left, I'm like, you know what? All right.
We're done.
I'm just gonna go, and I think that pissed people off even more. But I'm like, I would rather do that. But now I know, like that was just the immaturity in me, not wanting to like talk things out or hear the other person's side or whatever. Just being immature a lot of times, having baggage of wanting to have, I guess, a male fill the space of where possibly the things that my father should have been doing or he was doing, and he did it so much for so long that I didn't know how
Gotcha.
to be an adult on my own. And I felt like, because that was a situation, like I had the baggage of having a parent that having a father that I really didn't have to ask nobody for anything. So when I became in my adult life, I felt like that's where that's where you pick up at. Like,
Right.
and that was a baggage. Like that was an issue. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, well, if you don't want to go here, or if you don't want to do this, or all right, that's fine. And then I'm gone. And then the next week, I'm like somewhere else. And it just continued on. Like that was my baggage. Like I had I guess it would be a codependency type of thing. If you didn't want to ride this wave, then I'm okay with that. I respect that. I'm not arguing with you. I respect your stance, but I'm just gonna go with
You're
what
gonna
you.
stand by yourself.
Yeah, I'm like I'm just gonna go on.
Right.
But that's really when you talk about that, Jen. I think I had the same issue a little bit. I was kind of spoiled. Like I was married. I would go out on dates with my husband, but the next couple of days, my uncle would drive through and pick me up and take me out, and then my dad would drive through and take me and pick me out, and I'm like, oh, this is great. But that's not how like everyday life is. But
Yeah,
when you're used to something, you're like, this could go on forever. This is how it's
right.
supposed to be. Why do you need to change? Why do I have to change? Like
And
my
it
life is great.
really, I think what literally what like shocked me out of my the all of that years of baggage, all of my 20s of like expecting and having this codependency issue was me actually losing my father like in a drastic way within a week. And I had no time to prepare mentally, nothing. So it was like, okay, this is my wake up call. Like this is what I need to see. I mean, I heard what everybody was saying. I was making a change, but yeah. So sometimes I honestly think people, if they would stop being so sensitive and would hear the message, you can get a lot of shit before it's too late. You might run like your soulmate away. You might run
Right.
like a good relationship away. You
I've
just
seen
never
that.
know.
Because you're so
Yeah, people need to
contaminated.
stop being so sensitive and so defensive and feeling like, oh, I'm gonna come back with it. If you're telling me my relationships and my so and so is bad, look at yours, like Daryl said. So I think if yeah, so I think if people would just kind of sit down and just listen a little bit and stop being so defensive and understand that I guess like your circle is coming from a good place, then you can get the message and kind of make the changes that you possibly need to make.
Well, I think one thing you said, and it's more about when you're ready, when you will say mature to the point where you can hear that, right? Like even in your story, what you said was like at a certain point you were ready to hear it. You were mature to the point where you could hear whatever they were saying. So it's all about when
Okay.
that person is ready, you know, and that's the only way it can happen if that person is able to receive whatever people are giving. Other than that, your baggage is going to be there. It's not
But I
until
have
that person,
one
because you
have a
can
good
talk
question.
to your blue in the face and it's not going to mean anything if that person's not receiving it. It won't, you know, I don't care
You
how
can,
good you think
Somebody
you are.
doesn't get it. What if they're like in their 40s and 50s
Most
and
of these people out here
living
are 40s,
still?
50s, not getting it. You see the world. Most people don't get it. That's the problem. You have more people not getting it than getting it. It's a whole bunch of these toxic relationships out here, and people who think. Well, I mean, it may work for them, and but you can see a lot of these relationships are not really healthy relationships, because people are not really taught how to be in healthy relationships. We're really not taught.
That's true.
and the
Yeah.
examples that we have that are teaching us is not really resembling like
Mm-mm.
healthy,
Mm-mm.
or what would look right. What it is teaching us is how to sabotage stuff or how to not take care of our mind, body, and soul.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not realizing that some of that stuff comes from the core of how we were raised. And that might be from our parents, from whatever they
Absolutely.
knew how to do. And we're just recreating the cycle over and over again in all of these adult like relationships.
whatever's modeled, the kids see, they duplicate, and that becomes a learned norm. This is the norm. They think it's okay to do this, or even maybe just to accept things they shouldn't accept. Some people are learned to accept things that they shouldn't really accept, and they're like, well, I'm just going to accept so and so doing X, Y, and Z to me. People either accept too much, or they do too much, or they allow too much. But like I said, that's almost what is being taught. It's not really many healthy relationships being taught out there, and people don't know, and they're just going off what they know, and it's really not the best all the time.
But let me ask the question though, because when you say healthy relationships, and people know that that's your business that you do, but they really don't want to learn about healthy relationships. They want to learn from the deficiency standpoint of infidelity, cheating, fighting somebody. Like they want to do what is going to get the ratings first before you're able to pour into them for something positive.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like the way of the world. The nonsense is running the world. You know what I mean? You see more garbage on TV. You're inundated with nonsense all day long, right? You got the love and hip hops and this type of stuff, and that's really popular. These shows are, people are watching it, and then that becomes
and then try to
normal.
live their life.
Oh yeah, that becomes normal. Even
yeah.
people don't understand when the camera's going, it may not look like that when the cameras go off, but they believe that these people are doing all this nonsense, this fussing and fighting that's carried on, that's scripted, and that becomes a real life for you that was on TV, which was not real. So they're just emulating this, and they want to be throwing drinks at each other. But then now you're going to jail for that. Okay,
Right.
That was a TV show. Now you're going to go to jail. Okay,
Right.
And that's the problem. There's not many good role models out there. There's just not many things that you can see that are positive, and that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Sure.
April, what you got?
Just a summation. You guys, I think, covered everything. I did want to just add one point to the original question about how do we go about unpacking
I can't hear.
our.
Doc can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Am I still low?
You still
Yeah.
low.
I don't know.
Who cooking?
Probably can't. Do you see her face?
No, I'm not cooking. I'm looking like
Who
I
is
don't
cooking?
moving. Not me.
Somebody was staring a whole pot.
Right.
Not me.
I don't know. I think
I'm in the
it's
house solo, so it ain't me.
Yeah, I'm downstairs. My kitchen upstairs. So somebody had the pot right
I'm by
on the phone.
myself.
It's probably Jen.
Nope.
Well, it's a ghost on here stirring pots.
Right,
Yep.
right.
There's somebody stirring the pot.
That's funny. April, did you want to try again? You
how
said you was doing a summation of what we already said, and you was adding something.
Yeah, I just wanted to offer like maybe we have to learn one when we have issues. Can you guys hear me still?
Kinda.
Okay.
If we listen real hard.
Well, somebody Net said that she hear the stirring of the pot too.
Okay.
See? Yeah, who got the pot?
I'm not stirring any pot.
Me either.
Maybe
And the
there's
pot was loud. Like they had the
It was. It
microphone
was like it
on
was
the
gonna
pot.
be. It was gonna be
Absolutely.
something good up in that pot.
so
Okay, April. I'm sorry. We
no, I was
distracted.
just trying to say maybe look into like for letting for forgiveness, meaning once we do identify or recognize that we have baggage, we have to learn to once we locate what it is the actual problem is or the issue is, allowing time and room for us to forgive ourselves for whatever it is. If that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I'm competing because there's you guys can't hear me.
We hear you now more than the pot.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah, better.
No, you guys pretty much covered everything, I think.
Okay. I just didn't want to make sure your voice was heard.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I didn't hear it, so
Because you was over there with that pot.
I didn't have no pot. I'm stirring some pots. It ain't no physical pots, but yeah, it ain't no
Oh,
Oh, hello.
oh. So what's some of the, do we cover the silent signals of dealing with baggage? Like as far as the things that people don't say?
I don't think we did. We didn't talk about the types
Right.
either.
And I think wait, did we ever finish up about good baggage? Is there good baggage?
Listen, let's finish. That's where we're going. What's the good baggage?
Yeah, is
Can
there
we
good
we could
baggage?
learn from it. We could
Yeah.
learn from it. If you once you make the decision, like I think you said, Daryl, once the person is at a place that they could receive that correction is needed, and then they activate like doing whatever that is that they need to do, like they may be exercising with you and filling up your PayPal, or they might come and check in with Doc and myself,
yeah, right.
for some counseling sessions. Or they might, take some tools and tips from the Friday sip and chat, like whatever people choose to do. Like you got to do something, but you got to be ready that your mind is open enough to say, okay, you know what, I'm ready to take these next steps. But then you got to look at what those consistent patterns are. Like, because there's consistency there that's beyond it just being you in the mix all the time. So it's
Yeah,
like, what else? What else could be a good baggage?
Well,
Yeah.
good baggage can I'll say baggage itself can be good if it teaches us how we want to maneuver in relationships. If it teaches us what we oh, that's horrible feedback.
Yeah.
Teaches us what we want and what we don't want out of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It can teach us how to improve our coping skills.
Mm-hmm.
How do you cope in a relationship when something happens? It could teach us to learn, it could teach us how to cope with rejection, pain, all those kinds of things.
Okay,
If
gotcha.
we utilize it, if we take
I
it, if we accept it and face it head on, we can actually learn from it.
I had good baggage when
Okay.
someone allowed me to leave a relationship just like and ghost them, which I wanted to do so bad. I'm just like, just let me leave. Like it's fine. Like you're trying to like I don't want to. I just want to just it's fine. Like we can be done. I'm all right.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like no. Like I've been your friend for a while. I know you, so I know this is not what you really want. You just basically throwing this little tantrum, and no, like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to allow you to keep doing what you were doing. I'm not going to allow you to just be. I'm not going to allow you to just basically exit my life, knowing that there's no real issue here. You just basically pissed off at the moment.
Having a
There's no
tantrum.
problem. Yeah, which I wouldn't say it was a tantrum. It was just like a minor. It was just something that
Tantrum.
just like
It was a
okay.
Tantrum.
tantrum. Look at
Tantrum.
your face. Your face
You,
say
you,
tantrum all
So
day
you're,
I said it
long.
you're,
was
you're
minor.
not ready to
It was just
receive
like
what we're
minor.
giving you.
It was
We're
a
trying to give
tantrum.
you something right now, and you're not ready to receive it.
Oh, so listen. I
Yeah.
received
You started
I
beatboxing.
received that message, and I said, you know what? I said, you're right. I do want to be done, but I'll listen to whatever you having to say. And you're right. Like it pissed me off to actually sit there and have to hear it, but I sat there. I'm like, okay,
It
obviously
was longer than 30 minutes.
it was no, it was not. But that was all it took. And I seen like the person was coming from a good place, and I seen how it affected me positively. Like it was something I was doing the
Is
opposite
there
of what I
somebody
normally
else
was
on the
used to
line?
doing.
It's not anybody else on the line. I don't know what's happening.
Because it definitely seems.
Yeah,
Wait.
somebody it sounds like somebody else trying to chime in.
A doc? Are your headphones somewhere
Are
on?
your headphones still
Oh
connected?
yeah, are your headphones still on?
No.
And my mic was on mute, so it couldn't be me. You wouldn't have I had my
See, you
mic
hear that?
off.
Somebody's keys are doing
I
something.
hear it.
Daryl, check
It's
upstairs.
not
I
mine.
It
hear
could
it.
be your house.
Hey, listen, I live alone. Ain't nobody else here. If
Somebody could
somebody
be
else was here,
breaking
I'm
in
gonna run out the
upstairs.
door.
Check upstairs.
Well, I'm breaking out.
Not
Okay.
running out the
There's
door.
keys.
Now,
You hear keys?
I
We
did
heard keys
earlier.
that
yes,
It sounded
time.
like
that was
Going
keys.
around.
Like they were scraping up somebody's car because they got baggage.
Oh
Yes.
wow.
yep.
And you sound great now. Would you put the
Yes,
headphones
you
on?
do, April.
Yes,
I got
you sound.
earbuds on now.
There you go.
Yay, April.
Yes, you are here. You have arrived, girl.
Silly. All right, cool. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's good. It's
We worked
good.
it out.
Woo.
Whoever got the keys in the pot, please be honest. 'Cause it's very
Listen,
serious.
and one of the listeners is like, it's loud too.
It's real loud. It's over everything. So I don't know.
Right.
Wait. Tell me if you hear it now, because my dog is running around with, and you can hear his collar. Maybe that's it.
That probably is shuffling around, but it was
Was,
literally
what,
like
nah, was your dog in the pot stirring it? Because
No, he wasn't.
if he wasn't stirring the pot, then it wasn't the dog. Okay?
No.
Somebody was at the bottom of oodles and noodles. Okay.
Okay, trying to get the last, whatever that was.
Oh my goodness. All right, maybe we can keep it moving there. I don't know. We'll see. We got a ghost guest somewhere.
Yeah.
But
I think it must be her dog, and she put herself on mute.
Yeah.
Her dog new name is Potts.
So did we get all of the good baggage or the things that you can grow from with experience and baggage?
I want to know if Jen realized that she had a tantrum or not.
Oh no, she was still having a moment.
Was it a tantrum?
no, like he shut
she
that
still
down.
said no.
And
She didn't agree.
I appreciated that because it just was like I'm just used to somebody like, all right, well, look, she wants to just leave me alone, then let her go. And I'm not gonna fight it if this is what she really wants. But he was just like, no, because I know that's not what you really want. Like I know you. Like I was your friend first, so I know this is not like you're just pissed off because you're not getting your way. I'm not allowing you to, basically get your way. If that's a tantrum, maybe I don't know. But I'm willing to accept it if it was.
If it's something about getting your way, then that's a tantrum because apparently you getting your way was being changed.
And looked like he shut it down.
It was just I don't even know what it was about. That's just how my
That's how it usually works. That's how it usually works. It had no basis. Yeah. It came from nowhere.
I'm used to being dismissive, and it was something. So now I'm not as dismissive. Like I'm willing to talk it out very briefly, and I'm willing to
very briefly.
Briefly.
So you see the control?
Yeah.
It's still control there.
Controlling it's on your turn.
Talking about very
Her face expression is like, I don't see the problem with that.
Nothing really major.
And what's wrong with that?
Right.
I will. Yes, like I will.
So what?
Talk it out.
I love you, Jen.
I'm not gonna be like, hey, I'm done. I'm done with you, or I'm done with this. I'm leaving. I'm exiting. Like I'm in it. So
now you're just done with the conversation in 30 minutes.
So besides ghosting, what are other ways that emotional baggage shows up in relationships?
Cooking.
Huh?
Cooking?
No.
Going back to the stirring the pot?
No. Not about. Look, hear me out. I'm just thinking about when people. So, for example, if you with somebody and going over to their family house, and sometimes stuff just comes out. It just comes out in other ways. Like you think what you can make is the bomb, but it's not really. But anybody told you the truth because they don't want to hurt your feelings. Just like certain things, like you think it's one way, but it's not. So that could be a part of the baggage. You think you're this way, but you're really not. And
you think your representative is one way, but it really is doing
like,
some other things.
In different ways. How you talk to people, how your career is. It's just different ways how you interact with people. Like I don't know, it just comes out in different facets.
I'm thinking of emotional distance.
Staying at work longer.
Oh
yeah.
I'm thinking of always accusing your person of cheating.
I've never experienced that.
Commitment issues, like when things start to really get heavy, you want to run.
Yes.
Or like when a female wants to label stuff, like, well, what do we mean? We've been dating for this amount of time. What is
What are
this?
we doing? Are we still talking?
What
Are we together?
What is that about?
Am I your girlfriend yet?
Yes,
what
it's
do I
been
call
2
myself
weeks.
to your family?
It's been 2 weeks. What's
Nice.
up? What's up? Huh? What'd you say? I'm confused. Wait, hello? What's your name again?
One thing that I've been working with someone on, which has been extremely damaging because of her baggage, is this idea that whoever her person had before her is better. So comparing yourself to other people to your
I
detriment.
went through that
Because
earlier.
you keep telling somebody you're not good enough for them, eventually they say, hey, yeah, maybe you're right.
Not,
You right.
not enough for me. Somebody else maybe.
Be like,
Yeah.
How
you're
did you
right.
know? How did you know?
Like you talk that
Like,
person
I
out
was
for life.
thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a self-esteem issue, but
Yep.
it's that's that person's baggage to where like they are like something happened before this relationship that really like maybe demeaned them or something. I don't know, but
Hence the word baggage.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like that's what happened before then. I
Hmm.
have baggage with the not wanting to commit type of thing. I don't know if that's baggage though, but that
It
is
is.
It
It
is.
was
comes from something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or
it
even
comes from
or
something, but if
or
you're not ready to commit, you're just not ready to commit. So,
mhm. And you can't force it.
yeah.
And
You
not
Or
being
Right.
ready, not
I
being
don't really
ready to
know
commit
you, so I'm
is
not gonna.
different than being unable to commit because something is blocking you.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
that is
If you're
different.
always
I
ready
think
Yeah.
to commit.
that one is probably worse because what's the blockage? Like what's
Right.
it's either you're in love with someone else
Oh.
or something,
No, it
and
might
That's
just
you're
be
not
you.
absolute. It don't
It
have to
might
be
just
love with somebody
yeah, it
else.
might just be
Do
in
it
you.
don't.
It might just you don't possess that
I just said
characteristic to
or
go
something
forward.
else. I said
Yeah.
it's either you're in love with someone else or something else. It's
Or
something.
or the baggage where I know I heard it before where like the girls like, if we get married, everything will be fine. Or even a guy, if I get married, I can stop doing X, Y, and Z. Where for some reason they think that this is a magical pill that if they get
That you're
Yeah.
gonna
married,
spend
everything will be
all this
fine.
money and all these people gonna stand for you and witness it, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna be cured.
And you're going
No.
to be fine. All your
Yeah.
baggage
But a lot of
will
people
be
do that.
absolved. They do. Your
They
marriage
do that.
marriage will absolve everything, and everything will be fine. And it's just it's
And a
not
lot
Your
of times,
realistic.
security blanket is still not together.
Mm-mm.
and a lot of times it's even worse at that point.
Right.
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely, absolutely.
Married.
Yeah, it's like compounded.
Yeah, can I get this contract? You can't just leave now.
Oh yes, you can.
Yeah, I'll leave.
Yeah,
Because you didn't did your
no,
10
no,
years in a day. You a different situation.
yeah, but now we gotta divide this stuff up.
Right.
Well,
You know what I
depending
mean?
on
I
what
mean
state
that's
you
what I
live
mean. You
in.
can't just leave where it's a clean break. You got to now figure
See,
other things out.
somebody has been doing their research. They gonna say depend on what state you living in. Like, really?
Either way,
I
something getting
mean,
divided up.
yeah.
Yeah, somebody going to have to do something, and that I'm saying marriage just makes it tougher to just walk away. As
Right.
if you're just dating, I can walk away. It's not really, but when you're married, it's a lot more involved.
Something like that.
I gotta
And
save what I was gonna say. Because that's gonna
Say,
take us a whole nother topic.
go ahead. We always go off topic anyway.
I know, but that one is a way left. It had to be a whole topic by itself.
see, you
Oh, okay.
you done brought it up already. Now you got to say it.
Yeah,
You
y'all
can't be
Exactly.
you
We're
can't
on
beat around the bush,
period.
talk about what you're going to say and not say it. Now you got to say it. Say it.
I mean, like the baggage or idea that marriage is going to resolve something is a problem for
it
one.
is.
But
Yes.
it's
It
like it's a social construct that you again from your childhood have been told that that's something that is going to make life better,
That.
and you
Mm-hmm.
have this fairy tale thinking that that's the reality, but you're not doing the work on what's going to make
No,
that reality work.
because Disney don't show the
correct.
work. Disney don't
Disney
show the
don't
work.
never show the work.
You
It
know what I
just
mean?
showed the murder,
Yeah, and they live
the
happily ever
sexual
after.
assaults, like it
They,
just show all of the
Right.
harm, but it
matter
don't
of fact,
show.
it don't even show the relationship. It says happily ever after. Then it go off.
And then it
Right.
go off. It
They
don't give you no
divorced.
toolkit on how to actually
Yeah,
do with the stuff.
they
No,
divorced.
we
You know
talking
why?
about coping skills and
Mhm.
self management strategies. Then you got, see, this is when I really go left. The social construct that is an enslavement mentality, because you look at people like they property. We trying to remove from
Yeah.
slavery, but now you own your partner. And so it's like you don't own your partner.
Nope.
Y'all collaboratively work together, but it's
Right.
people when we talk about baggage, my wife is supposed to have this role, or you're supposed to be assigned to do this
Wait.
particular thing. And that's
So
baggage because you didn't talk about it before you decide
before,
to do this
yes, yes.
social construct that society told you, your parents told you was the best way to go once you get a certain age.
And I would say sometimes society doesn't even
Give them
really
the
tell
side eye
you.
candy.
You kind of go off of what you kind of thought it was. You kind of what you kind of knew, because society doesn't really. They kind of give you really. It's a generalization,
Right.
and then you put whatever you put to it. And like you said, people don't talk about it. Now you're in something, and you're like, "Well, I thought you were supposed to do X, Y, and Z." And it's not the case. It may not be the case. You know, you have to really discuss these things before you make you take that walk and get the rice.
And get the
Get the rice. That's funny.
I mean, or even to what Jen was saying earlier, like it's a codependency that and I may be paraphrasing what you said, Jen, but like, you know, your father did so many different things, and so you think that those things that were done, or your uncle, whoever it is, and then you project that onto your partner without even communicating. These are the things, these are my love languages. Like these are the things that I expect for you to
Absolutely.
see, or, you know, love me, or, you know, show respect, whatever. But without that conversation, you just like, well, didn't you just see my uncle take me out and we went and did this? Like I told you about it. And you were supposed to take that behavior and pour it into yourself.
I think, like I said, that is a form of baggage, and I feel like that's a lot when it comes to women. It's either you didn't have a father in your life, which that could come with a lot of baggage, or you had this father that basically was so up here that you looking for somebody to like reach that level or do whatever, and it really created something in me where I felt like I wasn't living up to my adult potential. I literally was just getting into a relationship and just basically being taken care of, and I felt like that was the norm, because that was my norm. Like there was no transition for me. It was like, okay, well, my father just bought me this car. I'm like literally moving out into this apartment with you, and now you're taking over. I didn't have I guess like an in between stage to kind of figure out like what's life of doing this on your own and having this life on your own, taking care of yourself fully, completely, being alone for longer than a couple months. Like that's a major baggage that I literally put on someone else, and if they wasn't doing what I felt like they needed to be doing, or feeding that need or that codependency that I didn't know that I had, then I'm like, okay, well I got that. I'm good.
Where the bag at? Where the bag at?
Well, see, that's the thing. But I don't think that your baggage was necessarily a problem. The problem was you didn't express that in the beginning. Because if you'd expressed in the beginning, this is what I want from you, maybe you'd be like, okay, I got you. You feel me? I can get you the car. I can do this. I can pay for the house. So the baggage was more that you really didn't express it to the person, whoever you were dealing with. And so my question.
That's the thing. Look, so listen. If we're gonna be on here, we gotta keep it real. Okay, so I'm keeping it real. So that
we don't expect nothing different.
Yeah, like that transition turned into another relationship where all of those needs were met, of course, because they were older, I was younger. So all those needs were met. So I was still in this headspace of this is how this goes. Like, okay. So when like this 3 or 4 year relationship ended on my terms, I had to make that clear on my terms.
Why?
That
if you're getting everything you needed, why'd you end it? If you were getting everything you needed.
That's like a whole nother 4
That's a different bag.
Yeah.
But we can't get to see. But I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss because
the reason why it ended basically is because I didn't want to relocate. So that was on my part. I was scared to jump out of some type of comfort zone and really be an adult and make the full step and relocate to where this person was, to make it super official. I've not only said that I had that issue, I also had an issue with commitment. So that was like, oh shoot, like did he really wants to commit. Like, oh, I don't know. Like, no, I'm gonna just stay here. And to the point where it was just like, well, what you want to do? Like, we're living this life, like we're together. Like, why don't we just be like under the same
make it last forever. Ever.
So the transition happened and real life hit, and it's like, okay, well, now what you gonna do? Like you're an adult now, you have to literally you got to pay for your own shit now. Like nobody's buying you cars, nobody's doing this, nobody's doing that. All of this is on you. So how are you gonna do that? And even still, even in that like small break of time, when it got too rough, I would still be like, Dad, like, yeah.
But can we stop there for a second and just like the mindset, the self-esteem, the value of self, the thoughts that go through your mind, the fears of can I financially do this? Like how real is that? Like that's a part of the conversation that we
Very
mention
real.
but we don't mention. You know,
And
like
that's I came back to the conversation of when I got to a point where it was like, okay, I'm doing this on my own, all right. And I had to have that when we had the separate account talk and all of that. That's kind of where that stemmed from. It wasn't no one telling me, hey, you need to always do this. It's because I experienced what it was like to be in a certain situation and I knew how crappy it felt. And to not get in that, like not to get in that space again. So that was like that was my safety net. But I mean, that is just like this is everyday shit that people don't really talk about. But
exactly.
yeah. And my father would be in my ear, not really in my ear, but as a parent telling me, look, you don't need no man to do this. If you have a problem, just give me a call. So every time I had a problem, I would give him a call. Account is getting low. My car is not to where I want it to be. Can you, especially because he was a car enthusiast. So that's all he liked to do is buy cars and travel and do stuff like that. So I didn't hit rock bottom until literally like someone died, and that was like the rock bottom of like, oh, this is how this is. Like you're really like on your own.
Okay, because you didn't have that safety net anymore.
Right. And it was like
Gotcha.
literally ripped away within a week. So there was no preparation, there was no mental preparation, there was no anything. And like sometimes that's how it happens. Like some people get it sooner than later.
So at that point you were forced to grow up.
Yeah.
And not label it as a tantrum.
And not label it as a tantrum. These things were happening. I never thought like it was a tantrum. I just thought like, okay, if this is not what you wanting to do, or if this is not where you want to go, or if this is not what you want to do in life with me, then I guess this is like the end of this
chapter.
Yes. So I'm okay with that. So let's just go. And that will be it. Sometimes.
And I guess I still want to push the envelope a little bit because you say, and I know you can't speak for everybody, but like that you are okay with it, but it's coming as an interruption of life that you didn't plan for. So how do you get okay, grieve, and still continue with life all at the same time? Because like your body goes into shock.
Yeah. And that was a stage, like literally I made a transition. I made like a super transition. Like everything happened within 1 year. I had a second baby in a year. I lost my father and my best friend in a year, and I moved to a whole nother state. So all of this happened actually like within 6 months. So I was just like in a place of just sitting like, okay, what's now? So this is what adult life is really, really like. Like I've always thought that I would have this safety net that literally just got ripped from me like within 7 days. So shit is real. So I have to start being like in a mind state of prep.
Right.
Which also can be a baggage thing because you can take that on to another relationship. Like you're always prepping for something to happen.
Exactly.
At so much like trauma, like you're in like a PTSD mode.
Right.
So thankfully, like I reached out and got the therapy that I needed to kind of transition into like mourn. So
and I think that's very, very important because what happened, I think, with her, because a lot of people be in the same situation and will fail. They will turn to something else. They'll run away from being an adult, right? And they'll go down the wrong. She was able, we had the wherewithal to say, you know what, I need help. Let me get help. And that helped her to move on. She used that to become better. Yeah. A lot of people don't use it to become better. And that's when you run to other things. That's when you run to drugs or women or whatever it is, whatever your vice is, and that's when people go downhill. You know
Or
that.
that 3-year mark that she talked about too, or Camp talked about, and you was like, ugh.
Yeah, the kid. Yeah,
Huh?
Camp had mentioned a
yeah,
3-year celibacy
yeah. Woo.
healing space.
I mean, but
I don't need
yeah,
that long to heal.
Process that
I'm a heal.
I mean,
I'm a heal while
mental prep.
I'm a
but
heal
I
while
think
engaging in these acts.
But it's, everybody's need for safety and healing is different. So if that's
Yes.
6 months, if that's a year, if that's 2 years, if that's 4 years, whatever it is, like you have to be doing something to activate where that you getting better and recognizing these baggage moments is actually impacting you, and you can stay on the surface, or you can go down deep and say, okay, what is this? What do I really feel? What is really, really happening? Because you may be walking around numb to all of the stuff that is happening in your life at the time and not even realizing how you're contaminating other people's space.
Which is the main thing. And I always said, like, I'm going through such a emotional roller coaster and such a mental roller coaster. I was like, I can never put that on anyone, whether it be a child, like my spouse. Like, I cannot. Because I'm like, I know if it's rough for me going through it, I don't want to put this on nobody because I want them to put it on me. Like, they might end up really catching a habit or something. Drugs has never been my thing. But me and my friend would joke, we would make jokes like, literally, we going through so much shit, we should be some crackheads right now. Like, we would make jokes, and I'm like, people really, like, they have that baggage where it be so much, they just can't hold it, and they have to.
That's the coping skill.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think think
that's
about how
why
many
I
people
reached out.
think about how many people we know that didn't make that decision. You know, I think that a lot of time I look back at my friends and things of that nature. What makes us different is a decision we may have made, and they may have went left, and I went this way, right? I think we're all just one decision away from doing our life being totally different. So
Right.
luckily, and so I know more people who don't have it together, who didn't make the right turn or make the right decision, and but I think that's why these type of conversations are important, because people can learn something from it. You may listen to something, hear something like, yo, that's me. That is me. And maybe that might be the tug on the jar. I think everybody's like a jar. Everybody's a tug, and finally it may pop open and they'll get it. So it's important to share. And thank you, Jen, for sharing. I know you so much better now.
Look down.
Type in that private chat. What's going on?
Okay.
I'm gonna have to give a virtual ass to down.
Oh yeah, I know. I got to protect my legs with you. I got to protect my legs.
Right? She told you that already.
Yeah. She don't take the legs out.
You got to collect from week to week. She spill out a bone each week.
Oh man.
April, I'm gonna always call you out.
I'm just being a faithful listener at this point. You guys are covering it all.
What baggage though would you contribute that can be silent though, that we don't pay attention to? She's like, Mary May, I'm about to text you.
The shutting down baggage.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a real good one.
I think that's the main one.
But that's kind of what we talked about before.
That was a tough one I had to get used to, because I would just start, I would shut down and not talk to people for, months sometimes. And it just became a thing where I was like, talk. And I just wouldn't do it. And it was like a serious problem I would have. Like, I would get in something, I would just hold it for so long. Like, I would just hold it. And it's crazy because I would literally be in my head, like, say something to him. Let's break this cycle. And I just wouldn't, my ego wouldn't let me do it, or the baggage wouldn't let me pass that level at that point. It took me a while to get to the point to not do that, and if I do even currently see myself getting into that way, I automatically, no, let's talk. Let's not let this go on because it's funny how days go by so fast, because before you look, it's like 3 months you haven't talked to the person and you're living in the same house. It's really crazy. You know, it's
That's
really
really
crazy.
crazy.
That's
Yeah,
scary.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
really crazy, and it's really happened. I'm like, wow, it's been like 2 months and we're not talking. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking around,
Oh,
you
that's
know,
crazy.
maybe a high or something like that, but we had no conversation. We're just two strangers in the
That would
house.
drive
You
me
know,
crazy.
But
I
you
think
know,
that
and
was the
I
point.
have a lot of
I
long
think that was the
term.
point.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
think
I
the
think that
That's
was the
really
point.
different.
long term relationships or couples that come into counseling that have been together, I'm gonna say over 10 years. I have some who are close to 20 years, and really the relationship as far as emotional connectivity may have stopped like 4 years before they decided to make a phone call.
Gotcha.
Mm.
And
Yep.
I'm just like, how'd you live in the same space and cohabitate with so much tension? And usually the baggage energy gets replaced, not necessarily by cheating, but they may hang out at the gym. They
Absolutely.
may stay at work
Absolutely.
Yep.
later and take on
Yes.
extra
Yes.
projects. They
Yes.
may they just create other hobbies that don't include you. So they only have to maybe share meals
Hmm.
and share
Correct.
utilities.
That's it. And
Correct.
then, like I said, it wasn't like I was doing anything negative. It was like I'm staying at the gym 3 to 4 hours now, or I'm
Yeah.
playing
That's
volleyball. I'm
avoidance.
just I'm just doing other things to not to not
Correct.
have to engage with that, you know. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna come home. She's probably gonna be asleep, and I'll get up before I go to work, you know.
Right.
And and the weekends were really tough for me sometimes because you're in the house. It's like, ooh, like the week was great because you had work and you had open. The weekends were really tough for me when it's because I'm like, oh, she's gonna be here when I get breakfast. You know, she's gonna get up too.
Anxiety start kicking in when the weekend.
Yeah. So now I'm really trying to figure out what can I do to get out the house at 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and
Hmm.
the gym to open till
Wow.
7. So I'm like, gosh, let's go sit in the parking lot.
Or go
I mean,
run by some water or run on a
Yeah,
trail or something.
something. Yeah, something. It
Hmm.
was it was terrible time.
Mm.
But why were you avoiding?
I think it was just a learned behavior that no, actually, I think it was a learned behavior that I just took it to the next level. I don't remember anybody doing it for months at a time. It just became a way of me dealing with whatever situation. 'Cause I don't like to argue, so I'm like, I'm not gonna argue, so I'm not gonna say
What?
anything. We're not gonna talk. Yeah, me and you, Jen, we wouldn't get along. I'm not gonna talk. So,
Like the argue, so I would just be playing the silent stare you down game. I'm not saying nothing.
so
I'm
that'd be perfect. So we
just
both were
walk
looking
off.
at each other for 3 months.
Yeah. And then I've been and walked off after 5 seconds. But
Okay,
I get
that's
it.
perfect. I win. So no,
Some
but so
people,
I don't really know exactly how it came about. You know, why I started doing it, but I know I was doing it, and it was kind of thing that I did. I think each relationship where my baggage got worse and worse and worse. I think it started in one, and then it progressively got worse to the point
but
where
what happened baggage? Like, what was the issue?
Well, you obviously kept doing it because it was
Right.
effective.
Yeah.
Whatever you did not want to face, you
yeah,
did not have to face. So there you go with
absolutely.
the positive
See, I was winning.
reinforcement for
We
your
doing a behavior
behavior.
plan.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Come
But it's straight. It was positive reinforcement.
in the house at a regular time and talk to her for
Right.
5 minutes,
But it was weird because I mean, they
then
didn't really
10
try to
minutes.
talk back either, right? So it was like they weren't reaching out either to talk. We both were just this is what it was, you
Yeah, but
know.
that sometimes is like, I'm not gonna say nothing unless they say something. Like
Well, that's
you
what it was.
playing the
No,
game in silence.
it was really remedial, and I had to win, so I could. I'm like, I'm not gonna talk.
That's the
I'm not gonna
pettiness.
talk.
Yes, it's
I'm not gonna
right. Like
talk.
you said, it's real petty.
Oh, absolutely,
That's
real,
very
real. And
petty and
they
immature.
don't call
Yeah.
me peppermint petty for nothing. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
Okay,
this is
peppermint
what
petty.
this is
peppermint
what we
patty,
do.
though.
Okay.
I say
Oh
it's
my
petty
God.
pendergrass. It's petty pendergrass being petty all the time. And pettiness is like a pet peeve. But it's a lot of people that they go back and forth like that. They're like, well, I'm not going to say anything if you don't say nothing. And I mean,
But they don't want to have to be the one that they have to let up every time.
yeah.
They
Right.
want to win. They
Power
don't want
and
to be the one
control.
that coming to you every time. They reaching
Every
out every time.
everybody got an
The
ego.
people that always want to win,
Right.
that's when you just like, you got it.
Mhm.
If winning is the main thing for you, then
Well,
You got
again,
it. You got it.
it goes back to that remedial type of learning and not knowing any better, and no one to show you anything different. And it becomes you until I think that something has to happen for people to change. I believe that like something has to
so
happen.
what happened for you to change like that behavior.
People don't change until what they're doing becomes uncomfortable.
And that's what it was. Like, I'm like,
True.
yo, I'm sitting in this house and it's like, we haven't talked. Why am I here? I'm really, nothing's progressing. This is not cool. Like, I'm wasting life just being here because we're not doing anything. You know, we're not hanging out. We're not talking. We're walking around like strangers in the same house. It just wasn't. And again, it went on so long. I kind of seen like, this is crazy. Like, we really are not talking at all. Like this, and it's been months. And I think that helped me to start to change that. Well, I left that relationship, and I'm like, I can't do that again. This doesn't work.
So, Daryl, let me ask you this question. Like, since you had that experience, how do you recognize those behaviors now in advance before you even connect on a long term with somebody?
Well, like I said, now if I feel like I'm shutting down, like I know when I'm not talking because I haven't talked to you. I don't allow myself not to do that. I'm not going to do that. But like I said, now it's kind of a little different because now I just talk too much sometimes. So now I got to learn to cut it down. I'm trying to learn from Jen, get it down to about 45 minutes. 45 minutes now. Because now I think I'll talk.
You still
too
15
much.
minutes too long for Jen.
I know I can't get to the 30-minute yet. I'm not
My
good yet.
attention span is just not that long. I just start tuning out. So
you need the behavior plan from Camp and Dr. Doc, and you'll be able to work it out.
So still learning things and trying to figure out things. And biggest thing I learned is, you got to try to talk effectively to whoever you're talking to. So whatever it is, it has to be effective. And I try to have effective communication at this point.
Okay.
But how did you learn that? Did you learn that just from it being so uncomfortable that made you learn like the shutting down thing?
If we rewind it, I just said I learned it because it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, but
if you, I don't know if you went over your head.
I'm gonna say
she's like, oh, I missed it.
That again.
Whoa, he missed it.
He would do that again in another relationship because he didn't get the message that good. He's just so stuck on. It's just like he'll talk it. He might talk more. Okay, sure. But I feel like he would do that again. Like, what was the real? Because no one told you. It was just like, I guess in that particular relationship, you just felt so uncomfortable with nothing being said that you just was like, all right, like I'm not going to deal with this relationship no more. And I'm just, I'm going to start communicating. Now I talk a lot, but did you really get the message?
So maybe we're gonna go back in the time machine. I'm gonna repeat what I said already. Okay? What happened was, like I said, this was a combination of relationships to get me to the point where it got to the point where it went for months, like literally went for months. Once I got out of that relationship, I just felt like I didn't want to repeat that again. I didn't want to repeat that again. So if even now, like if I feel myself shutting down, right? Because now I can see it. Now I see this is the problem. I see this is not comfortable. This is not really good. If I see myself doing it, I will just talk. I'll make myself talk, right? Because like I said, all the time I wanted to talk. My ego wouldn't let me. I would be there and I would see her. I'm like, don't say anything. It was a conflict inside of myself saying, I can literally say like, it was saying talk, and I just wouldn't, right? So now I'm just not doing that. I guess at this point that just doesn't work. And I think I don't have as many outlets as I had before. So I can't be as busy as I was. So I'm kind of forced to continue the conversation or talk because I'm not doing as much as I was doing before. Like I was out all the time. Oh, what was that? Something just ran behind you. Watch out, doctor. Something ran behind you.
That's her cat. You didn't see the tail?
Yeah, it was real quick.
It was an alien. An alien just ran behind you. I think it tried to tap you on the shoulder.
The tail was in the screen earlier.
Yeah. So that I will say that baggage I've cleared that level. I have a whole bunch of other baggage I still have to get to work on, but that baggage I cleared.
Like what?
Oh, my baggage?
Yeah, like what's
Oh, we're not gonna turn it into my show.
Thanks to the Daryl show.
No, we're not doing my show. Okay.
But yeah. So
She's trying to help you get down to 30 minutes instead of 45.
Listen.
That was being sarcastic.
He said, I ain't come on here for that.
Oh no. Too early for self-disclosure.
Right.
Oh gosh, that's a blessing that you even being mindful of it because we've had some circumstances where We was right at the corner of Stenton and Mount Pleasant and knowing what everything was going on. I want to give a shout out to Jaja in the comments. He's known as the Facebook user. So the question I have is, so we talking about how we have navigated, but we have had COVID for 8 months.
Wow.
And
It's
it's
been
been
that
some
long?
baggage that has been happening in these relationships when people were like quarantined in the house for, where they couldn't leave and do the gym and stay at work late because everything was in the living room and hopefully they had another space to go to. What would you suggest? What would you suggest to that person that is like, oh my God, can I just see some different people?
Pray.
Yeah, because at this point,
They want to
Right.
see people.
I think a lot of people in this 8 months met a new person that they knew for however long they knew in their life.
Yep.
They met a whole new person by being
Right.
around them 24/7. Now you
Yeah.
have this
Right.
new
Whether
person. Like,
good or
who
bad.
are you? Yeah, whether good or bad. Like, who are you? Like, because you were forced to be around this
Mm-hmm.
person that you have never been forced to be around like this before.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly. And like I said, for the good, some bad. But I know people have definitely met a new person.
Right. Right. And how do you manage, like, okay, well, how you become this new person? Like, that's not who I married, or that's not who I was dating all these years, or that's not who your children knew. Like, you just this new representative. So we had a false representative before then?
No, I think they were the same person, but again, 24/7, you're a little different 24/7 than you are after work or the little bit of time that you see each other. This is different where you're locked in a house with someone. This is a
Mm-hmm.
different. It's a different, different type of entity. You were in
Right.
jail with somebody, so now you got
That's
jailhouse rules.
Jail though?
right? Jail.
Well, we were locked in the house, right?
Mhm.
We were locked in the house. You
That's
really
it,
couldn't
so
go anywhere. You couldn't really do anything. So you were forced to be in that house unless you were, trying to out there get that Rona at that point. So
I'm sure
it
Camp
was.
had a whole schedule for her family. She probably had them rotate into different sessions, like they was learning centers in the house.
Well, let's think about that.
Yes and
Even
no, but
teaching.
I will say that went downhill because I have a toddler. So
Yeah. Just think
being
about
there
it.
7 months
Yeah.
for the toddler for 7 months is different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just being with them 24/7 and then trying to tell them you got to teach them how to do school. That was my child was different. This is a different child all day long.
Yeah, you
All
like, I
day
know
long.
why the teacher was calling now.
Oh, listen.
Yep.
Yeah,
And now
that's
I'm in school again
But I,
too. So the
Yes.
pressures of now
yep.
me being in school, and now I got to study what she's studying.
Yeah.
And I got to sit there for an hour and learn this new math. And I'm like, carried on. How you do this, baby? Can you teach
Yep.
me? We both don't know it, right? So we both failed. I failed the second grade, y'all. I'm telling y'all, personal disclosure.
didn't the numbers of child abuse and
Everything.
Yes.
domestic
So
Domestic
violence,
violence.
domestic
It
violence,
went
domestic
up.
child
violence,
abuse.
child abuse
uh,
increased
it,
during
And
it,
the
every time we
quarantine?
have
A
a
lot of people
national crisis or a national situation, if you go back in history to all the other times that something close to what we're experiencing now has happened, all of those things, the violence, abuse, sexual abuse, domestic violence have increased. Like it's just automatic.
or you just literally have time. I mean, I have two small children, so I was already on edge. But before the COVID just really
She was
put
on
like,
edge.
Are the
And
I was
kids
on
are the
edge.
kids
I needed
okay?
more time.
I'm
But
gonna go upstairs and get my badge. Hold on.
Right? You a mandated
but I feel
reporter.
like that's when I really had to reach out, for therapy because I felt like it was just becoming overwhelming. Like I was sitting in this relationship that I was questioning. My parenting skills was being tested. Me as I guess a wife role was being tested. Everything was being tested. And I'm literally sitting here all day, every day. Couldn't go to the gym. Pole class was closed. Everything was closed. And I'm sitting here like my normal was just shut off once again. So it flashed me back to like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Like everything is getting shut off just instantly. And I'm just here to sit in this feeling of just, okay, like what now? What do I do now? Like, how do I, and I'm just trying, I think that is what brought a lot of people, not to say to like breakups and things, but yeah, they're used to having this life that they have a spouse that they really don't even know because
Mm-hmm.
their spouse is used to doing all that, like you said, gym and going to work and doing all of that. I wasn't
Well,
used
we
to my
think
spouse being
we
at
think
home.
everybody needs a break from everything. You need a break from your kids.
Yes,
You need a break from your spouse.
yes,
And when you don't have that, and someone's in your face 24/7,
Seven.
it does. It becomes daunting, right? It does wear on us. That's just we can't be around anything all day, every day. That's just it's just tough.
Talking
And
about
and then,
what's
I
for
will say,
dinner, when you're doing the laundry,
and
like
yes,
all these questions. Like,
yes,
okay,
and
can
you
we go somewhere?
you're thrust into a situation where you're not prepared for it the first
you got to
time. So
figure it
now
out.
you don't know how to deal with this because it's the first time it happened. So we don't know how to deal with this. We're in a brand new situation. We don't know the rules for the situation. We're trying to learn on the fly, and that's why a lot of things happen. A lot of things go left because we're trying to learn on the fly. We get frustrated, and now we can only take it out on the people that are in the house.
and the people that normally had outlets, those outlets are gone. So they
Absolutely.
literally have to sit into this whatever is going on
Mm-hmm.
and figure it out. Like you either have to talk it out, walk it out, or
Yeah.
like
And think about it. The smaller your space is, the more you're on top of each other, the more frustration and things you can't get away from. So if you have if you're in a situation you have a lot of people in that house, it's going to be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be crazy.
Was that the cat again?
That
Yes,
was
it
the
was.
cat. See,
But I will say the times we was more appreciative of each other, I would say. But
yeah.
luckily we had a big backyard
mm-hmm,
and a
mm-hmm,
deck, so I could go outside and
yeah,
just kind of walk and do exercise and do things. I could do different things. But I will
gotcha.
say it is a new normal, but we actually had to share certain responsibilities we wasn't used to sharing or doing.
Uh
Yeah.
oh,
So created a
uh
whole
oh,
new world.
yeah.
You said, "Uh-oh."
Oh yeah, she takes people sharing, doing new things they didn't have to do before. Like how to do
It's
this.
nothing like that. Household
That's what I
responsibilities.
mean. Like how I do this.
Right?
So how does that
So,
work? Because I know like if someone likes doing something a certain way, like I had one,
Right.
they're like, well, the towel corners go in. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't know it was that big of a deal. They like it a certain way. Now you're coming in or you wash the dishes and they wash them behind you. Well, you should have watched them again. You should have watched them in the first place.
Yeah, that it's been a lot of conversations about that, like how the roles have changed,
Mm-hmm.
and the partner is thinking that they're doing something to help the household,
Yes.
but
And
because
doing
there's no
nothing.
communication, it becomes one of them baggages that, like, I didn't
mhm.
know that you had a certain way that you lined up the glasses in the cabinet, or like I ain't never pay attention. I just open the door and get what glass I want and keep it moving. Like,
And
But see, the
also
problem with
parent
that
the
is
kids
the
when I wake
problem with
up.
that is if I'm doing something that I think is for the better of us, and you kind of get upset with me, like that's not how we do it. Then I don't know if I'm the problem or you're the problem for not
You're the
receiving
problem.
what I did as being something positive, right?
right.
I'm trying to help. So if you're coming at me because I didn't do it the way you normally do it, like you don't watch, no, I don't really watch you. I'm just trying to help out because I know you normally do. I'm home. I'm trying. Now I ain't doing nothing. Now we done made a whole nother mess because now I'm shutting down because I felt good that I was doing something. Like, let me help out and do
Right.
something that I don't normally do. And now she's coming back like, that's not how you do it. I'm like, okay, well,
And so instead of
That
shutting
is
down, could you
He always
enter
shut
the conversation to say, right, we're trying to keep them out of shutdown.
exactly.
Right.
But instead of shutting down, could that be the place that you can then approach your partner and be like, okay, we in this space together, we under quarantine or whatever the scenario is, how can we work together?
ooh.
Or like, what is it that I could do that could, like, if you cook, am I washing dishes and
Mhm.
vice versa? Or is the laundry, you need me to order the pickup service? Or like, how you could have that conversation.
I was just abused, and now I got to talk to the abuser about not how to abuse me. Okay, I get it. I understand. Oh,
Nobody
really?
knows that you was
Oh,
abused.
Yeah.
oh,
you know what?
oh,
That is a
oh.
topic that often comes up in couples therapy when you have one part of the couple who is have that baggage of needing to be in control.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the conversation is always, well, you're not really helping me. I
Mm-hmm.
asked you to do this, but you're not doing it the way I say I
Mhm.
usually do it. And my comeback is always, if you ask your partner to do something You have to be okay with the way they do it. You have to
Exactly.
allow them to do it the way that they do it and be happy with that.
Except the fact
Well,
that
You
it's
not
don't have to
changing.
well.
control. You don't have to control the way things are done all the
No,
time,
and I think
unless
that
it's
it's
an issue of safety
mhm.
Right.
or danger. Who cares how the glasses are lined up in the cabinet?
Yep.
If they're lined up in the cabinet and they're not on the floor.
Right.
Well, and again, it's how you speak about it. If you're like, look, hey, I'm thank you for doing it, but this is how I do it. It makes it better. That I can receive, right? Because
Mhm.
you spoke to me like a
Right.
human being. But if you're going to get upset and act like I did something wrong by trying to help, then there's a problem. So again, we have to learn how to communicate with each other effectively so that we can receive things.
So that
Nicely.
word effectively is arbitrary. And then
Yeah.
somebody in the comments is like define and clear understanding of household roles. And I'm just like, I mean, I hear that, but we gotta make sure it's not gender assigned.
Well, again,
Well,
you can't.
A
That's
lot
not. It depends on
are.
the relationship. Some relationships are okay with gender assigning their
Yeah.
roles, right? So it's all about what they want in their relationship.
true.
However they want to do it, it's okay for them as long as they both can agree to it and accept whatever the rules are. So
Hmm.
it can be. It depends on the relationship. What I mean, you can do however they wanted to do it, as long as it works for them.
True, true, true. True.
That makes sense.
I guess when I say gender assignment, I'm thinking like you don't say, well, the women in the house are supposed to do this, and the men in the house, like it should be a
But that,
conversation.
well,
Like
that
it
could
should
be
be an
okay if
Well,
understanding.
even is the conversation. Sometimes the conversation can keep happening, but the actions of a man or the actions of a woman will say something else. So you can't tell me we have a conversation, you're gonna do this, you're gonna help out, but it doesn't happen.
Doesn't
I'm
work.
not believing what you say, I'm believing in what you do.
got
Hmm.
you. So what happens at that point? What, 3 or 4 times they say they're going to do it, they haven't did it. What happens? How do we deal
Well,
with
if
that?
I know that, I know who I'm married to, so I stop asking. I don't even ask you to do that because it's
There
not.
you go.
There's
Yeah.
sometimes there's a timeline. Something has to be done in a certain way. Not my way. It's just how it's set
Oh.
up, how life is set up, based on the kids. Like, for example, I have a teenager, I have a preteen, and I have a toddler. Even I gotta fall in line. My house don't run the way I want to. I gotta fall
Got
in
you.
line.
Yeah.
Everybody, kids or people too, they have their own ideas and they have certain things they like done a certain way. So that means you gotta update your parenting skills. You know they don't like pepper, but you still do it anyway. Like certain things they need, but I realized we was able to sit down, talk every morning. I had to reorganize the whole house with help with some of the kids
I
and
knew
the
you had
husband.
a schedule.
I did because we had goals and like Jen talked about, we went from everything being great to we both got laid off the same day. We got laid off on my son's birthday. And we had a birthday party planned, but we couldn't even take him to the birthday party because the water park was closed on his birthday.
Oh,
So I was like, we sitting at home but you know what? We both were down and we were like, it's now or never. So we made some goals that we've been wanting to make and do together, and we sat down and made a plan and made it happen.
Word.
But it actually brought us together because we was on a rat race. Do this, do that, go to gym, go to yoga, go put this, choir, soccer, church, family, my grandma house, groceries. It's like a rat race. So COVID was a blessing in disguise. It helped us slow down and appreciate each other more. We appreciate each other, but
That's
we
because
work
they got
together a
that
little bit
10
more.
years in a day life.
What
huh?
was that, Mary?
They got that 10 years in a day life. They represent it differently. They represent 10 years differently. Now, where'd she go? So, is there anything else that we should cover in baggage?
Yeah,
We
people.
did the good baggage, we did bad baggage, we did what we learned from baggage.
Accepting and recognizing it, accepting it, and don't be on defense if someone this little $10,000 cat.
Right.
Just accept it and just recognize it and don't be on a defense if someone lets you know that you have, a little bit of baggage. You have stuff to kind of unpack and work on. It's a good thing and it's only going to help you in the end. It's not anything to tear you down. It's only building you up. Like when you're going through a spiritual awakening, it's not pretty. Like it's ugly. Like literally, you're sitting there unpacking a whole bunch of life stuff that you need to go through. You obviously you could be living a life that you're not, or you're fronting about. Like you've been sitting forever. There's a reason why you've been sending this rep, and it's just take the message, listen to it. Don't be on the defense. And be willing to invest in yourself and work on yourself before you bring in somebody else to the equation, because you can be harming them.
Right.
I think we
You
need to
want to
learn
do
to.
right by others. Get yourself together.
We need a time limit.
I like
think
that.
I think we need
I
to
like
learn
that
to
idea.
assess. We need to learn to assess ourselves, and I think we should do it regularly. Try to assess ourselves in our situations. You know, learn to be honest with ourselves, because if we can't be honest with ourselves, we're not going to believe anybody. We can't be honest with anybody else, right? So we do have to learn how to self-evaluate and kind of be honest with ourselves and say, look, you know, this is a problem. You know, I did hear this a lot. You know, I do this, and that's a thing I think we all need to do.
Yeah, definitely. It's often recommended that you don't have to wait until the volcano erupts to go into a therapeutic situation. Like you should do every quarter, every 6 months, whatever works best for you. Like I just need a check-in session.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I would make a comment, but I think it's going to take us into another. I
Again,
know
when
you
you
said
say
you wanted
that,
to
you
cut
gotta
it off
do
at
it.
a.
Well,
Huh?
Daryl said when you said you gotta go, it might be
Yeah.
our part 2. Like we might just start it and then
Yeah.
roll it in the next week.
Well, I know for me, like, I recognize certain baggage that I have, and I feel like I've unloaded my baggage. But when I see that same baggage in somebody else, and I know the process that I went through, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I'm not dealing with that, Um,
So no communication. You just be like, deuces, I'm out.
yeah, it depends on the baggage. Sorry.
So again,
Okay.
I mean, we kind of talk about that good baggage by learning from your mistakes.
Right.
I think that's what she's kind of saying. I make that. I kind of agree, because well, I mean, you may try to talk to them, but if you know they're in a place that they're not going to receive it, why would you sit there and continue to hurt yourself or even get dragged back into that?
Right.
Or even accept the fact that you have a tantrum, like Jen, like she still don't accept that was a tantrum. Like she like, no, wasn't a tantrum.
You have to recognize the baggage that they're carrying, and again, if they're at a place where they're not identifying it or recognizing it themselves, and they don't want to do anything about it themselves, it can become toxic to you.
Yep.
I know me personally, I'm just like, well, I've tried to assist, tried to be supportive, but they were stuck, and I've recognized that place. And for me, for my own personal self-care and personal health, I felt like I need to walk away. I'm sorry.
Right. Right.
So I think that's just a different side of it.
Doc, you got that look like Pinky in the Brain. What you contemplating over there?
Nothing. I'm just listening to what everyone is saying, and I think these are good closing comments.
They are.
Yes, I'm taking it all in.
Okay.
Knowing yourself and doing these check-ins are crucial to moving on to a new relationship. People are often too quick to go from one relationship to another without doing an emotional and mental check-in with themselves.
Right.
And it could be their baggage that makes them jump from relationship to relationship.
Right.
So not knowing that, here you go, jumping into something, and
see, there we go with the ghost person again.
That was nobody, right? That was nobody. That was nobody. Okay. All right. I'm crazy. It's me. I got it. Okay. All right.
Oh God.
Go ahead, Doc. Keep going. That was nobody.
That was nobody. I mean, we already said this. We're in the house by ourselves, so I don't even know what is happening. Like,
this is so confusing. I am so confused.
We didn't have the keys. We didn't have somebody spilling something in the cup.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, Doc. I mean, somebody was yelling. I heard him talking. I'm sorry.
It's
Go
all
ahead.
right.
Go ahead. Talk about
He
you
thought
talking
he was
about
going to bring his badge out again. Like,
yeah,
wait,
yeah.
what's
I don't know what's
happening?
going on. So you was talking about eating cereal? What'd you say? What kind of cereal we talking
No,
about?
that's not what I said.
Frosted Flakes. Okay, I'm sorry. What did you say? Got
I
2%
said
milk.
usually serial dating is an
Ah.
indication
Oh,
of
Okay.
some type of baggage.
yeah.
But you know what? And this would be just a post-it note for something we'll talk about later. Serial dating could also be testing the waters to see what type of relationship style life they want to live.
Mm.
Mhm. It could be.
That was
Could
me.
be.
It could be.
That was you.
Yep. I
It
Yeah.
went
could
through
be.
cycles. but it was never a time where I didn't know what it was. Like I
Mhm.
knew I was serial dating. I was just like I had to find my that was years and years and years ago. That
Of
was
course,
pre
of course, of course.
Right,
Disclaimer.
right,
Right, right.
right.
You know,
Don't y'all start it.
it can be a symptom of many things,
It can be.
including a anxious attachment style.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
And that's even
Or
a whole
wanting to
conversation.
like meet new people and just love it. But yeah, that could be
Mm.
just
Meet,
wanting
meet,
to
meet new people and what? What'd you say? Meet new people and what?
meeting new people and
And what? I hear you
just
say
the
you meet new
whole
people and what? What'd you
coincidentally
say?
just like the company thing.
Oh, just company? There was only company?
Yes,
Okay.
it was.
Okay. You could, just company? Okay. All right. That's what we call it, just
Yeah.
company now, everybody.
That's the new word.
That's just a new word. I just had company.
That's just like
No
the
friends. When you
hangout
just
tip.
oh, this is just my friend, that's something else. Company, that don't mean inviting no one over to your home. It's me. You know what it is. You live that life. Stop it. Knock it off.
So you know what my life is? That's
Yes.
Yes.
presumptuous,
Actually,
aren't
you
you?
know.
Presumptuous, aren't you?
So let me ask this question.
Hmm.
What do folks think is an appropriate amount of time to sit back and assess yourself between relationships?
I don't think there's
Again,
That
no
I don't
that
time.
know.
varies.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay, all right.
I don't
I don't
know.
think
Okay.
Yeah. I think that truly varies. It varies on a lot of different things, like what happened to make you like close that relationship out,
Mm-hmm.
what that relationship triggered for you, like in regards to like what it is that you need to heal from, because that could be multi-layered.
Mhm.
If grieving the relationship is one thing, but you may also be grieving something else that has happened in your life, like a move or
Mm-hmm.
just a change of status in different ways. Like it's so many different things. And then, some people don't like being jump offs.
Mm.
They don't like, that
That like,
emotional
yeah,
attachment that's
yeah,
like interrupted. Like they want to know that they have value. So like if
yes.
they've experienced something deep, and then the next situation is giving them this temporary fix, then yeah,
That's when
it
they go 3
depends.
years. That's when they go three
That's when the
years.
4 year situation happens.
But I
I
think that
mean,
We know you
everybody's
can't
different.
last 3 years, Daryl.
like there is no time limit, and if you really want to take that time and just be single and just as long as you're being honest and
Right.
just want to like date around or whatever, I think that's cool because you're letting the person know, look, I don't want a relationship. I just got out of something. I'm going through things.
Mhm.
But tonight is cool if you're cool with that, and if they're cool with that, whatever your process is, as long as you're not basically telling somebody, hey, I just got a relationship last week that was turmoil. You want to get in a relationship with me because you know they're not healed. But
Mhm.
if
Oh,
they're
I don't
going
know.
through
That might be the right one. You know what you're looking for.
It might
Oh,
be the
A week,
you.
a
January
week.
shaking
Oh,
moment.
you damaged. Let's. Mm.
and a lot of people like damage because they
Oh,
think
they
that
do.
fix them.
They do.
But yeah, I think there's no real time limit on unloading that baggage. Sometimes it takes people
Yeah.
years because they
Yeah.
keep doing the same thing until
Yes.
Mhm.
actually get the message driven to them. Sometimes it takes literally weeks. Sometimes it takes months. So I think it depends on the situation, and it depends on whether or not you had years of baggage or you just had a baggage from this last relationship. Like if you had
Right.
years of
Mm-hmm.
baggage, it's not going to be
Yeah.
unpacked overnight. If you just had
Mm-hmm.
baggage from this
Yeah.
relationship that you was in for like 5 months, it might be able to be over with fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some people have clutches. Some people have
She said clutches.
loads and loads
She
of
did.
Is somebody getting a Heimlich?
luggage. Some people, yes.
This invisible guest, I tell you.
Yeah, somebody's getting a
That
Heimlich.
was
Somebody was dying,
my
or they
lovely
got the Rona. That was.
Well, Jen
that
is
was my
saying it's her this time.
deuce. That was my people,
Oh,
my
okay.
2 children's.
Oh, okay. All right, we
They
found it.
probably was
But
throwing
yeah,
that
some
profit
people
last
have
time.
little teeny bags and some people have valets.
Right.
But that next person might be the person to help you through your baggage. So you can't just say
Yeah.
no.
Which I believe in that too. Sometimes, like
That's a
that
brave
person
person.
helping you through it could be like
Mm-hmm.
that could be your soulmate.
Nah,
You
like
never
Jen.
opposed to shutting things off. Like
Mm.
you just never know what happens. So that's why I say it's like not a time limit because the person that's helping you through this in the
Mm-hmm.
end might be like the one, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it might be the one. Like you can have several soulmates. I think so, but
Dang, how many
they
souls
might
you
be
That's
got?
the
another topic.
That
Dang,
is
how many
another
souls?
topic. I
How
need
many
to get the
souls you
pen
got?
ready. She said, "How many
I
souls you
can have
got?"
more than one
And
soulmate.
I wanna for further discussion, I wanna throw the question out there. Should somebody else be helping you through your baggage?
Oh,
Ooh.
If they, yes,
I would say
say
yes.
yes. If
I
they
would say
basically
yes.
like, look,
Okay.
I've been through this, and I went to this person, this therapist, or whatever to, to talk it
I
out.
don't
This is
think she's talking about a
I'm
therapist.
not talking about a therapist.
you mean
I'm
like
talking about
She's talking
should
about
a
some hand
I'm
touching.
like
talking
that stuff?
I'm talking about
So
a new relationship.
It
I
Should
think
it
depends.
Like
so.
there's
I
a
think so.
transitional object.
I think
It
so only
depends on what's in the
because
bag.
well, yes, because again, I think you have to exercise your newfound, whatever it is, right? So you don't know what you're going to do really until you get in the situation, right? You can say all the stuff you want to do in pregame, like I'm gonna be better, I'm not gonna do this again. But when
Right.
you get in there, you may revert back to some of those habits at first.
Right.
And that
Mm-hmm.
person has to help. Hey, look, hey, baby, you're kind of doing it again. Let's fight
Right.
through this. Let's walk together. Let's not do this. So you need that person to be,
but
kind of
but
help you
Daryl,
through
you're
it.
talking about after you've acknowledged and kind of going through some steps where you know you got baggage,
Mm-hmm.
you know what it looks like.
Gotcha.
So now you're entering into a new relationship and this person is like kind of helping you. That's different than just jumping into a new relationship without checking yourself
Well, again,
and
And not
expecting
really
that
giving
person
consent to
to
that
help.
other person that they
Right.
the temporary transitional object to help you catalyst through your next level.
well, everybody's temporary until they become permanent. So, like in Jen's situation, she said the guy was like, "Look, I know you.
Now what?
You're not gonna. I'm not gonna walk away. I know how you are." And
Oh,
that
okay.
was able to help her through her whatever she was going through. Right.
Right.
By him being there, I got you. I'm not letting
Right.
you do this. You're not
Right.
gonna push me away. You're not
Right.
gonna let your baggage ruin what we have. It
Right.
helped her, right? So that you're gonna need somebody, I believe, to help you through your baggage, right?
He's like, Jen,
So
you are such a mess right now. I know you're going through this like transition, and I know it's not me. Like, I know it's not me. I know it's the other stuff. I know literally your father just died off last week, and I know you like I know
Not
this
that
fight.
off.
Yes, I know this fight is not about me. I know it's not
see,
about me.
and
All
that's
that
how
you're
he
going
helped
through right
her.
now is not about me. It's about what you're
Mhm.
going through. So
Mhm.
I'm not gonna let you just get pissed off and like pick on this one little thing that is like it's bigger than that. So I'm not gonna let you do that. Like that's
Mhm.
immature. You're not gonna do that. So you just gonna have to stick it out, talk it out, whatever, and we just gonna deal with this. And literally, I was fighting. Like no, like I'm like just leave me alone. I'm good. Like just like haven't you ever heard when somebody say leave them alone, leave them alone? Like I just need time. Just let me deal with things on my own. Let me process. But that's just how I was used to going about it. If it didn't work my way, or if it didn't work in my favor, I'm cool with that. Just let me go off on my own to sort things out. And it took this person that was going through it with me to basically like, no, like you need to grow up. You need to
Mhm.
handle your shit, basically handle your stuff sort it out, do whatever you got to do, but I'm not going to let you just
Do this.
basically
Absolutely.
not deal with it. Yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
not going to let you just sweep it under the rug, sweep all these feelings under the rug or whatever, and not actually handle how you're feeling and just drop me off, and then that be it. So I
Right.
was at the time, but I respected
Woo!
it.
Somebody hit the button.
It taught me a lot. What? What do you say? Oh, what?
I like April's statement that it depends on what's in the bag.
They silly. Yeah, it depends on the bag. If I'm going to stick around to try and help you, they crazy.
I'm sorry, April.
I said if someone sticks around to help,
Uh,
that they're crazy.
Huh?
Go ahead, April. Finish your statement.
So, no, the question was if
Oh
you,
God.
girl, you all right?
okay, I got cramp. I'm sorry.
It was funny.
No, it depends on the bag. So again, I think it depends on again where I am mentally, emotionally, what baggage I have. If there's some psychological issues, I'm not framed for that. So that's something I can't stick around and help you out with. So
That's
so
real.
yeah,
Like
it
she
just
said.
goes back to it
Mhm.
depends on what's in the bag.
And
And
knowing,
you're
like she said,
honest
knowing
and
what
you
she
let
can
them know
accept,
that.
knowing what she can accept and what she can handle.
Exactly.
You have to know what you can handle because
Yeah.
you take on something you can't handle, you're both going to fall.
Right.
You know, you like now you're bringing each other down. So that makes a lot of sense too. I agree.
Yep.
All right, party people, y'all have opened up the floodgates in regards to what could be a next session, still continuing this conversation, but looking at it a little deeper in a deep dive. Daryl, I think I'm gonna be laughing at you though for a couple.
I feel like he
For-
said something
for
that
a
possibly
couple.
could offend Jen, but I just didn't want to
I
respond. Okay?
Jen, you are never offended, so of course it
yeah.
didn't have anything to do with
Uh-uh.
you.
I wouldn't do that. I
know
wouldn't do
you
that
wouldn't
to
do
you,
that.
Jen.
He too smart for that, right?
I like my legs.
So in closing, what would be like your things as far as the coping or acknowledgement that you think people would need? 2 minutes.
I would just say, for me, I'll go first. I would say assessing yourself, kind of, being honest with yourself to and be able to hear what people are saying. But I think it starts with a self acknowledgement that I do have these problems to be able to for someone to for you to take it in that what other people are saying.
Right. Can't, what you rolling
I would
with?
add
Oh, my bad. April, go ahead.
no, just give yourself time and time as much time as you need.
And time can be lonely, but you have to know that it has a purpose.
That's right. One
That's a
step at a
good
time.
I like that. Time could be lonely.
good one.
That's real.
That's a real one.
It is real.
Who said that? Who said
I
that?
said that. I
Mary.
said that. I
You
said
better,
that.
you better copyright that.
All right.
If you don't
I'm
have
gonna
it by
send it
tonight,
off
I'm gonna do it
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Okay,
I'm
well,
gonna send it off.
I'm sending it off
I
tonight.
love it. I love it.
I'm going to say that if you cannot do that time, that's a problem in
Right.
itself.
Like that's opening up.
You're
Because
going
if you
back into
can't
that
be by
cycle.
yourself, if you can't be alone with yourself, why should anybody else be able to be alone with you?
Especially we go back into pandemic life.
I gotta learn that. Ooh,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I do have issues.
I
Oh
would
God.
say dig deep.
You said
Dig
dig
deep. Dig
deep.
a little deeper. And even if you have to write it down or do whatever you have to do to recognize who you are at the present moment, do just that and take your time.
Right.
Okay.
Take your time and go through it and heal and learn from it.
I would say, you're always a flower, and flowers and seeds are always being planted for who it is, your representative, and who you actually end up being. But you got to realize that all seeds ain't right. And so they might just be there for the season. So you got to be able to acknowledge that and grow from whatever experience. Because whether it's right, wrong, it hurts you, don't hurt you, it was there purposeful to help you learn something.
And watch who's watering your seed. You got to watch
And
who's
watch
watering your
who's
seed.
Yes.
watering your seed.
Yes.
Because you might be welcoming that toxic energy and
Absolutely.
behavior, not even
Absolutely.
with that intention, but it just happens that way.
Mm-hmm.
But you attract who you are.
You
Yes.
magnetize shenanigans, like you
Be
draw that
well.
to you.
You
Yeah.
attract,
You are.
you attract what you want.
Mm.
Doc, what's your closing?
Unfortunately, we often attract what we are.
Mm.
Woo!
Not so much of what we
I'm going to
want.
write that in big
Woo.
letters.
Can you
It's not
repeat that one
always-
more time?
I said, because
Y'all-
Daryl said
Y'all
attract
dropping
you
knowledge.
attract
Right?
what you want.
Write
You
that
attract
down.
what you
For
want.
free.
But more often than not, you attract what you are.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I was saying.
Woo. So you got to really change yourself then. You attracting the wrong
Yeah.
thing.
Hey, how about
Yeah.
that?
You really are.
Jeez. And that's
Yeah.
really tough. That's
That
really
is
tough
really
to
tough.
now reinvent yourself.
Because you thought you was all right for 40 somebody years.
Oh, absolutely. You were good.
And then now you having an awakening and you like, well, wait a minute. Like, what's happening?
So that has you have to feel really lost at that point, right? I would gather you would feel really lost. That kind of like coming out of the pandemic. Like I have a whole new person to learn who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I didn't. That's dope. I didn't really think about that.
And a lot of times people run to their spiritual foundations and still need some additional stuff. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm
They
sorry.
they run to their spiritual foundations, but still feel like there's a void there that things of not being addressed. And
What's
it's
funny, Camp? We
possible.
want to laugh.
Right. We
Okay,
wanna laugh.
so it's just like, yes. So the whole thing about the spiritual foundation, that looks different for different people.
It does.
So when I say that, like, so when people ask me what do I do, I'm like, well, yeah, I listen to sermons online, but I
Right.
also do restorative yoga. I actually plant stuff like fruits and vegetables. I take walks and talk to myself. I have conversations. You can I like crystals. I like sage. Like you have to create the atmosphere that you want.
Yeah,
You have to create the
I
atmosphere.
think Jen said about crystal cleansing. What is that?
Yes.
What is crystal
it's just
cleansing?
another form of. It's just
At
another
10 o'clock.
healing. That's a whole nother thing, but yeah, it's just crystal healing. It's a whole like you have to. It's basically you have to study that. You have to study what crystals are good for.
Different stones do different stuff. Like different stones bring different energy to
and
you.
all of that.
That's for
brings-
Sunday night
So
topic.
everybody does crystals on here.
I don't necessarily do crystals, but I am aware of it because of the work I do in the Eastern Caribbean.
Okay.
And working with that culture, like it's very, very prevalent in regards to the energy that crystals bring
Okay.
to a person. And so I was working with it for 5 years in the Caribbean. I'm gonna say that because I don't want to say which Caribbean, which part. And then in the more recent years, people have in Philly or the tri-state DMV have mentioned the use of crystals and carrying them when they go to different beaches so they can put them in the sand and let the salt water roll on them and stuff like that.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
kind of dope.
it's
Like
a whole
affirmation,
lifestyle affirmation and
yeah.
Yeah, I knew a crystal,
also
but I
do-
never really.
But I also feel like
and
a cleansing.
And crystals may be beneficial for you to explore a little bit since it matches your business to a degree.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can talk about that offline, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
So-
it looks different. Yeah.
It looks different for every situation and person because your energy, your vibration in your body is different for every person.
And you have to go with what speaks to you and know what kind
So
of
now the
touch-
crystal is vibrating your body.
You know
God,
what?
your body is already vibrating because it's an electric system.
Right.
Your body is electric.
You're made of
All right,
70%
guys.
water.
So
You see,
emotional,
Doc is giving us a look
emotional
like
baggage.
Oh, you gonna bring us back?
Right,
Okay.
right.
Any painful
Daryl
or
took us
negative
there.
experience that you have not processed and went through
Right.
that you carry into your next relationship.
My closing statement would be
you already said your closing.
no, I never said I was last.
Somebody hit
I'm
the
always
button.
last. I'm always last. It would be just to treat it literally like maintenance on a vehicle. You're not going to drive a vehicle for like a whole year and not get an oil change or whatever.
Some
You're not going
service.
to you're not going to
Right.
buy a car that has several different owners and don't question it when you're going to buy a
Mm.
car. If you see it has
Talk,
like 10
girl.
different owners,
Ooh.
Okay,
you're
Chad.
gonna
I love
question it. Like,
cars.
Yes.
So
why is
I speak
this?
the
Like,
language.
Mm.
why is this car that went through 10 different owners? And that's just because
Something
that
wrong with
Mm.
it.
grandfather
It's an
knowing how to
easy
do
Right?
car.
cars.
It's an
I
easy
like
When you
car.
just
that.
want that
I
one,
like
when
that
you just want that
analogy.
one owner car.
Yeah,
Car
like
don't
why
have no
it's
alarm or
like if
locks
it
on or
has
nothing.
one
They ain't got
owner,
no
it's a
doors.
good
Oh
car,
You can
Lord.
just get in
right?
that car.
But
All
if
right,
it has
that's it.
10 owners, you're gonna question it. Like, what's wrong with this car that 10 people done gave it up or is not
It's a
working?
lemon.
So yeah, it's a
But it
lemon.
looked
So
like
it's
the
like
car was giving
that
it up.
that comes with baggage. People just gotta self check. Just self check. Like treat yourself.
Oh God.
Darrell,
Ooh, that hurt my heart.
he's not even Daryl anymore. He's Darrell. So Darrell,
That
Jarrell.
okay.
do shenanigans.
And then we better check the dipstick apparently in the comments. Like this is what the
Yeah,
checking the
see,
oil and
you
the
got it.
engine and the
Listen,
transmission
you
is you
don't
gotta check the
Such a
dipstick.
good fit.
you don't want to get that.
Definitely.
If a car had 10 owners, it probably got something. Okay, car got something.
Ooh.
It's
So
That
very
thank
that
you for joining the
used.
Sip and Chat on Friday with Relationship Flow
that leaking
and us
oil. That
having
car
a
leaking oil.
conversation
That hurt my heart.
around how do you recognize your baggage, or I don't even remember what the topic was at this point with y'all. But we do come to you live every Friday with different conversations. And if you can see my computer, I have several post-it notes of things that were said in the first round of the wrap up. So hopefully we will see you next week. And if you catch us on the replay, we love to hear your feedback as well. So I know most people usually reach out to me and be like, oh my God, y'all was going in all the way to 10 o'clock. Right. We keep trying. We keep trying, but we be getting good. So everybody be safe, stay safe, and we catch you next week.
And don't
Good
forget to
night.
vote, people.
Thank
Vote.
you.
Yes, yes,
Vote.
yes,
And
yes.
make sure your
Vote.
car
Free
has.
vote, vote the day of,
Yes.
however you rolling and
That's
rocking.
right.
Make sure
That's
your car
Good
don't
right.
night.
have a lot of buyers.
Get her done.
Check your vehicles, okay?
Hit the
Them
Everybody.
button.
too.
Hit the
I'm
button.
about to put y'all on mute. I see y'all in the studio. All right. Take
Bye.
care. Thank y'all for joining.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
Night.
night.